What's up, everybody? Justin Graver and Justin Mello back again from the Music City Audible with another exclusive YouTube breakdown. And today we're breaking down some Titans headlines that may have slipped through the cracks with all the activity surrounding roster cutdown day. And let's just get right into it. Before we start, though, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, the Music City Audible. If you like this video, give us a nice thumbs up and turn on alerts for the channel so that you get notified every time we drop a new video, like tomorrow when we're going to rank the Titans position groups from 1 to 11. All right, let's get into this right off the bat. The biggest news, I think, that I'm sure everyone saw it, but nobody's talking about it anymore because of cutdown day. Jaylen Burks, who sprained his LCL a couple weeks ago in joint practices with the Minnesota Vikings, was diagnosed with a potentially 4 to 6 week injury timeline, was back at practice on Monday, not quite 100% yet, but he looks on track to play week 1 against the New Orleans Saints, which is huge for this Titans offense and especially for the passing game.
Well, it's massive news, right? First, when he went down with the injury and you saw that it was a knee, immediately you fear season ending. You think a torn ACL, of course, always comes to mind. Then we got the good news that it was an LCL, as you said, and he's probably going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. It was good news, all things considered, but you're still worried he's going to miss the first few games of the year. Well, now the news gets better. He returns to practice after what, a 2-week absence? I don't even know if it was a full fortnight, but a 2-week absence, essentially. That definitely puts him on track to play week 1 against the New Orleans Saints. That is huge for them. He is so crucial, so critical to the overall success of this passing game this year. They need, and by the way, the Saints got some really good corners, right? So they need him on the field for that game. Really positive news. All signs pointing towards he will play in that game. All indications are he's healthy and ready to go. Massive news for the Titans.
Massive and good news, positive injury news, which Titans fans have not had a lot of over the last few years. But switching gears to negative injury news, staying in the receiving room and explaining again just how important it is that Jaylen Burks will be back, Kyle Phillips. We don't really have an update on his injury timeline, but he was wearing a leg brace in the locker room on Monday and basically just seemed to be happy that he was able to walk with the leg brace and didn't need crutches or anything. So looks like he may end up missing the higher end of his projected timeline of 4 to 6 weeks. We'll have to keep an eye out. He may be moved to IR as early as today with the rosters now being officially cut down to 53, so keep your eyes out for that. But Kyle Phillips, not likely to be ready by week 1, maybe not ready for a few weeks, maybe 4 to 6 weeks into the season.
Well, I was going to say, by the time you watch this video, there's a half-decent chance that Kyle Phillips will already be on IR, which would rule him out for the first 4 games of the season and would free up a roster spot for the Titans to add another player to the 53-man roster. It just doesn't look like he's anywhere near ready, right? It feels like the opposite of Jaylen Burks, where he's going to miss the higher end of the projected timeline. That was about 4 to 6 weeks. So it's already been about a week and a half, 2 weeks by the time you watch this. I expect he's going to be out at least another 4. So Titans will probably stash him on IR. If they don't, it'll be surprisingly good news. But I imagine he goes on IR and misses the first 4 weeks. You'll probably see a guy like Chris Moore or Kearis Jackson playing in the slot for them in week 1.
Yep, that is to be expected. All right, let's move on to our next big headline here. The Titans traded a 2025 7th-round pick for kicker Nick Folk, and this was big news on Tuesday, of course, but we're going to dive into it a little deeper here. What do you make of this trade? The Titans finally have their kicker, or is this a temporary Band-Aid?
Well, you know what? This is an accurate number. I swear to God, I am not making this up or exaggerating. Did you know that if you include the last 2 years, Nick Folk is the 104th kicker to be rostered by the Titans over the last 2 seasons. That's an accurate number. They've rostered 104 kickers over the last 2 seasons. Hopefully Nick Folk is the answer here. They gave up nothing, a 2025 7th-round pick. I was working the phones all day. I let people know on Twitter that they were close to completing a trade for a kicker. Moments later, it was announced they had acquired Nick Folk. This guy was one of the best kickers in the league in 2020 and 2021. Struggled a bit in 2022, but certainly still a starting caliber kicker. Certainly better than Caleb Shudak, Trey Wolf, Michael Badgley, which was the 3 kickers they rostered earlier this year prior to acquiring Nick Folk. It's a Band-Aid, as you said. He's 37, 38 years old, not a long-term solution, but all they need is a guy that can make kicks from within 45 yards this year. They've got designs on winning the AFC South this year. You don't want that to come down to a missed kick, and you don't trust, Michael Badgley out there. I think Nick Folk's going to be a very reliable kicker for them. I'm glad they went out and made this move. They paid next to nothing. You will probably be asking a question again this time next year about who the kicker is going to be. But as of right now, I think Nick Folk is a good Band-Aid solution.
Well, if you just look at over the last 4 years, he's 58 of 58 from under 40, from inside the 40-yard distance. 36 of 40. That's exactly what they need. 36 of 44 from 40 to 49 yards. 12 of 17 from 50-plus yards with a long of 54. He's been almost 92% on extra points. The only thing that's really tricky here is his touchback rate. He's got a 12.2% touchback rate, which is really, really low, with an average kickoff distance of only 59 yards. And there's some talk that this was a schematic thing, that he was coached to kick it sort of to the 5-yard line and let the Patriots coverage unit run down the returner inside the 20, which didn't work. It didn't work at all because the Patriots gave up an NFL worst average return of 29.2 yards, including 3 return touchdowns. Last season, there were only 6 return touchdowns across the entire NFL, and the Patriots gave up 3 of them. So you'd hope that maybe that was just a coaching point and that Nick Folk can come in and kick it off all the way. Otherwise, the Titans are going to look to somebody else, whether it be Ryan Stonehouse, whether it be having a second kicker on the roster, God forbid, that can handle the kickoff duties. But that is one area of concern. But I think when you talk about his accuracy from inside 40, he's a perfect 100% right now, 58 of 58 over the last 4 years. That's the area that is crucial for the Titans and what they have not had in quite some time. So let's move on to our next headline here. Another injury status update. Chig Okonkwo is healthy, back at practice, as was Monty Rice on Monday. Those are good signs, especially Okonkwo, who was dealing with some sort of minor hip contusion, held out of practice a couple days, didn't play in the final preseason game, but he's back fully healthy and looking like he's ready for a monster year in what is going to be a very top-heavy, light tight end room for the Titans this season, with Okonkwo being the only real pass-catching threat. Josh Wiley is a 5th-round rookie, made a few mistakes in the preseason, doesn't look really ready to contribute. Trevon Wesco, he may catch a few of those little dump-off passes here and there, but he's not a receiving threat, really. He's more of a blocker. So Okonkwo has got to take this job and run with it, and we're looking for him to have a breakout year, so it's nice to see that he is fully healthy again and back at practice.
Well, I was never concerned that this was going to be a long-term injury, but certainly good news that he's back at practice. Now we have confirmation that it's not a long-term injury. I expect him to have a massive breakout year, even though he had a case of the drops in the preseason. That was uncharacteristic of him. I imagine he'll be working the jugs machine. He'll get that out of his system in time for week 1. But really great news that he's back to practice. I think he's going to have a massive, massive year this season. It's especially promising that he's back because of the Jaylen Burks, Kyle Phillips injury concern. So he's certainly a top 3 target in this passing offense, and they're going to count on him to make plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last headline we have for you today here, Daniel Brunson, who left the final preseason game much earlier than the rest of the starters, had to go back into the locker room, was dealing with an undisclosed injury. He talked to reporters on Monday and said that he's okay. He is dealing with it, and he will be ready to play week 1, which is obviously huge news. The Titans' offensive line cannot handle dealing with an injury this early in the season. The 5 guys up front have never played together as a group of 5. They need all the reps they can get in practice, and they need to develop that chemistry so that they can, pick up stunts and, help each other in the run game and climb to the second level appropriately, and all the things that requires chemistry on the offensive line. They need their starting right guard in there to do those things. You can't be dealing with their injuries this early in the year. Obviously, they're going to come up at some point, but nice to see that Daniel Brunson will be fine and ready to go when week 1 rolls around.
Well, Daniel Brunson is the new Ben Jones on this offensive line. He's one of the toughest players on the team. I promise you it's going to take a whole lot more than that minor injury to keep him off the field. So really good news that he'll be in the lineup. Titans went heavy on the O-line, keeping 10. They've got some intriguing backups on the interior. Guys I think you can get by with, right? A Corey Levin, Dylan Radins when he's healthy, Xavier Newman-Johnson. Lots of interior depth on this offensive line. But Daniel Brunson's their starter for a reason. Rand Carthon was with him in San Francisco, loved him there, brought him with him to Tennessee. Really exciting news that he'll be out there week 1 at right guard.
Yeah, he wears the same number as Ben Jones too, huh? Number 60. Bet you didn't even catch that one. All right, that's it for Titans headlines today. Thanks for tuning in and watching this YouTube video. Again, please remember to subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and click the bell so you get channel notifications and alerts every time we drop a new video like the one that's coming tomorrow. So that'll do it. Until then, y'all stay safe out there and tighten up.